$1 trillion. And so there is some sort of magic calculation when you go from a $400 billion industry to a $1 trillion industry that you now need to secure these assets in space. So this isn't necessarily just about going back to the moon or going to Mars with people, which would be amazing. I mean, we've already sent 40 missions to Mars. Now, only about half of those have been successful. But orbiters, rovers, satellites. But you also got to think about all the things that are happening with local satellites, right? And by local satellites, I mean things like, Dish TV, things like that, Google Earths, Apple Maps. All of that is secured by satellite systems, which are in near Earth orbit or geosynchronous orbit now. And that is another $1 million industry that's just exploding. The amount of data that we're collecting now at the 30 centimeter level, which, by the way, you know what 30 centimeters is because you're an American? Yeah, it's about 10 sheets of toilet paper.
10 sheets of toilet paper?
So each sheet of toilet paper is about yay, so that's about 30 centimeters, right? We can now read things at 30 centimeters from space because of all these near-Earth satellites. And so all those near-Earth satellites are contributing to congestion in the atmosphere, which sounds ridiculous.
Space traffic jams?
Space traffic jams. There's even been talk about an FAA for space. So maybe that's housed within Space Force, the new branch of the military. Maybe that's housed outside of Space Force, like FAA is, where FAA is not part of the Air Force, so maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it's interesting to think about the fact that there's now estimates around 25,000 bits of equipment, 25,000 bits of equipment in space that no one's really figuring out who's going to first and who's going to second and what's on third. That old joke?
Yeah.
And because of that, they need to do traffic control. That's a potential mission for Space Force. Another thing that's super interesting, I think, is who secures the space tourists, right? So we've already developed financial products where part of the reason that launches have come down isn't just scientific and technology advancements. It's actually coming down because of reinsurance from people like Lloyd's. If you don't know who Lloyd's London is, you need to look them up.
So I'm going to interrupt you for a moment because George he saw the big rockets and he just started talking. And so me and Professor Pullen, I've been a pessimist of why that little guy, that space astronaut over there, is important. So we're here at the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., and Professor Pullen is going to tell me about the space economy because I have been shitting on his idea. And he's like, no, it's really important. But when he just said satellites, toilet sheets of paper 30 inches apart, space insurance, it makes sense. So we're going to walk around, take some shots. Professor Pullen's going to explain to me the space economy. It's going to be great.